So you can
Brady
see it, Jen. We
Papinga,
can't
obviously
see
one
it.
of the more excitable players. Mickey is now shooting into the bus as some of these guys get off the bus. I'm not sure if you can see that
we
scene.
can see it. It looks like Brett Swain and TJ Lang that we're looking at right now, as if I can make them out in the with the backlighting.
Well,
Yeah, it's a little
well,
bit
you've
dark
got a
inside.
better view than I do at this point.
Are you on the other side of the
Brett
bus, Jen?
Swain did just get off the bus. We are, but Mickey right here has got a
there
shot,
you are.
as you stated. Brett
We
Swain just got off.
we see where you are now. Yep. So you can see, there they go. That might have been Ryan Pickett there. Can't tell
some
who's
of
in
the
the cowboy hat.
guys all decked out.
Who was in the cowboy hat?
I know. He must have gotten that in Texas. Too funny.
So it looks like, Jen, what they're going to do is unload one bus and then get that bus out of there and let the next bus unload almost, huh?
We're seeing our boy Nick Collins, who's leaving and giving high fives to the crowd.
He had that amazing 37-yard interception and touchdown.
Cullen Jenkins, who needs a coat badly, but
Yes, he
apparently when
does.
you win the Super Bowl, you got all kinds of warmth going on.
And Nick Barnett.
Sam Shields,
Yep, there's Sam.
arm in a sling.
Yep, I see
Tremont
that.
Williams. I did see that he had a sling on his arm. Apparently that injury happened last night. Andrew Quarles, Donald Lee, a lot of these guys, big playmakers. Jermichael Finley in the gray, Ryan Grant in the black coat, followed by Nick Barnett. That looks like perhaps it may have been Graham Harrell after him, but I didn't get a great shot of his face, so I can't tell you guys for sure. So it looked like that was the injured reserve bus. Not all injured reserve players, but at least a number of the guys in that bus right there.
What kind of interaction are these guys saying anything to the fans or vice versa? Can you hear anything? I know it's kind of crazy out there.
A lot of high fives, not a ton of interaction. It just depends on the personality of the guys. We do have, Mickey, if I can have you step right over here. We do have some of the guys actually just getting right into their vehicles. Kevin Green right there, I know you mentioned him earlier, Brad, that you saw him wearing the ball cap. But guys gonna hop into their cars, put their bags away. We've seen a number of guys doing that. As far as interaction goes, it just depends on the personality. You know, Brady Papinga is a guy who we've missed his personality since he's been on injured reserve for most of the season, but he's the type of guy that always wants to interact with the fans. So he was going by kind of glad-handing and making goofy faces, as he's been known to do. Nick Collins, as I said, very friendly with the team and with the fans, excuse me. Some of the guys kind of just giving the nod. You saw Cullen Jenkins. It looks like we have another bus load unloading, so we're going to try to see them here through this opening as they walk past.
And Jen, just so you know, we can make it out through the opening.
And this may be a lot of the... Great, yeah, and here Tom Crabtree, who you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
There's Crabtree, yep.
Morgan Burnett, who again, injured reserve player, but obviously contributed a lot. Crowd getting very amped for somebody coming through. Up, Charles Woodson walking through right now with that shoulder protected in his coat, but giving high fives.
And the gold cap there, yep. Oh, and fans loving Charles Woodson.
And the media, too, a crush of reporters around him.
And why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So many people so happy for what Charles has accomplished, you know, getting the Heisman Trophy and having so much success in college. We're now seeing Ted Thompson walking by, but the fact that that ring had evaded Charles for so long, that really endeared him to the fan base. Ted Thompson enjoying this scene so much. He obviously is a guy who doesn't really show a lot of emotion, but in the last 24 hours or so has really indicated that he is proud of this team he put together, and of course, deservedly so.
And the wonderful story about how Charles Woodson tried to encourage the team at halftime yesterday and just broke down in tears and couldn't finish. He said he'd never cried that hard since he was a child.
Oh, and after the game, he said this was a long, grueling season, mentally and physically. We got through it.
Yeah, I mean, you got to believe these guys are tired. I know Cullen Jenkins yesterday said he was just spent. I mean, just absolutely exhausted before the game.
I liked some of his comments, too. He said he really tipped his hat to McCarthy, saying he kept the spirit alive, kept us in there. And he also said, thank you, fans. We appreciate all you do. Oh, and here's a little fan right there. That is, that's a picture.
And I think think you guys make a really good point about these guys and being exhausted, because think about the adrenaline that they had rushing through them going into the game and how that can just drain a player, and they have to be really cautious about that from the get-go. Then, of course, you play the game, which is physically exhausting. Then you're partying well into the morning because, let's face it, you party when you win the Super Bowl. So these guys really dealing with a lot of those emotions, and as you stated, mentally and physically exhausted. Maybe they caught some winks on the plane on their way over here back into Wisconsin, but other than that, it's probably been go, go, go on adrenaline since the start of the game yesterday.
It'll be a good night's sleep for all of them, I'm sure. Although, you know, Aaron Rodgers said he actually got 8 hours of sleep Saturday night. He said he was confident in the game plan and slept very well. I would have not been able to sleep one wink.
But that's the confidence they have.
Well, and that's why he's who he is, and I am doing this.
Wow, what a scene there.
It all goes back to the preparation for Aaron Rodgers, guys.
Absolutely.
It all goes back to the preparation.
So, Jen, are the buses all unloaded now? I see them all lined up there. It looks like we're at bus number 5 now.
I think so, and I was seeing some of the radio and TV broadcasters. I saw Wayne Larrabee get off the bus. So people, and one of the writers, Mike Spofford, there goes Larry McCarron, of course. They do the radio for this team. So this is kind of the guys that are on this final bus now, looking for more familiar faces. But we are also seeing the players who are, as I stated, going right to their vehicles, which is where we are. We are right outside the players' lot. They're going to their vehicles, putting their bags in, some of their swag, if you will, because some of the guys did come back with the championship gear. So we're seeing them go over there to their cars, and we're kind of catching a glimpse of them as well. But what's kind of even more exciting, and I know the players are a huge draw, is seeing the faces of these fans, because they have the perma-grins.
We just saw Clay Matthews, Jen, going from the players' lot back between the buses, so it looks like he dropped his stuff off, and now he's heading back into Lambeau.
Jen, you were saying?
You guys have a great vantage point.
I know you can't see it. Sorry, we interrupted you.
The faces of these fans. No, not a problem at all. Absolutely. The faces of these fans are it's just something you can't really describe. And the perma-grins and the rosy cheeks and the bright eyes, they're sparkling. You know, the noses are sniffling a little bit because of the cold. But again, it's all worth it if you get a glimpse of your favorite player, your favorite team coming home after winning the Super Bowl. It's just one of those moments you cannot really put into words. You have to be here in order to experience it.
And I think it's neat to see the reaction of the kids, some of whom were maybe just babies the last time the Packers won the Super Bowl, and now that they're a little bit older, able to appreciate it more. Obviously, able to remember it too.
Yeah. It's so interesting because there has been this shift here in Green Bay as well, because so many fans, of course, lived through the Favre years and only knew Brett Favre as the quarterback of this team. And then, of course, you have young fans who have never watched Favre play, have only seen Aaron Rodgers, and he will be the quarterback of their generation. So it's interesting that some of these fans don't even know all of the stuff that went on because they are so young. And we've seen them young here. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has been in Green Bay now for 6 seasons. He's been under center for only half of that, but kids who only know Aaron Rodgers don't know all of the adversity he went through. Certainly they've heard stories, but didn't really experience the Favre era. This is their quarterback, this is their team, and it's great to see them taking part in this celebration as well.
And a number of players, when you think about a number of players too, I mean, they didn't play under Favre, they played under Rodgers. He is the quarterback they know at Green Bay.
Absolutely, and it's interesting.
And a lot of them that came up with him on the practice squad and spent time with him, you know, working with those units, that was really something where they bonded as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, I think, with the young generation of fans. It is different for them. It's very different. It was interesting, too, last night watching the national media cover this, and so many people remarked, well, we can finally shake the ghost of Brett Favre, but for us here, that happened a long time ago.
Yeah, I really think it did. It's interesting. They keep on bringing it up, and it's like it's done. It's history. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a world-class quarterback, and as you know, Terry Bradshaw and Troy Aikman and many others really in the know have said, he is the best quarterback in the NFL, and we are so fortunate to have him here with the Green Bay Packers. You know, Jermichael Finley was tweeting, as you probably know, during the week, Jen, that he thinks this is the beginning of a dynasty.
Let's pull in Jen about that.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Brad. very interesting point is we're seeing some fans who have climbed up on top of a satellite truck
they have.
being
That's a
struggling
safe
to get
place to
down.
be.
Yeah, the vantage points here are, you know, kind of slim, so people trying to get any advantage they can in order to see this team. But you're right about the dynasty thing. It's been an interesting topic of conversation because the question becomes, when can you start pursuing a dynasty? And certainly you have to get that first championship. That's the first step before you can get a second one. And while I tend to think that you can start talking about this being a potential dynasty team, there are people out there that don't want to jinx it. You know, sports fans can be superstitious. They don't want to talk about stuff like that. But you have to win that first one. They've won the first one. And if you listen to the players, Brad, as you've stated, guys like Aaron Rodgers who say this will not be the only championship for this team. We're capable. We have the personnel in place. The nucleus of this team is in good condition. This is a team that can make a run at the Lombardi Trophy for years to come.
Yeah, Rodgers said in his news conference this morning there are two challenges ahead. One is repeating, and the other is improving. He said, let's go get another one. I mean, he is already, that is where his mind is already on Super Bowl 46.
Thinking ahead. We just saw a...
Absolutely, they have to start preparing for that.
And Jen, we just saw, I know you were on the ground, but we just saw a little higher camera angle there, and it kind of looked like there's some guys straggling back inside. We don't know what's going to happen next, though, clearly. Do we?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think this would just be a guess, and I don't want to put it, you know, in stone by any means, but I don't think that we're going to be seeing the players come back out. In fact, I'd be interested to know how they're going to get these buses out of here at this stage. So we're going to keep our eye on that as far as if we just start seeing them back up, because the other way, you know, where the buses are pulled up to is going to be very difficult. It's blocked off. There's no way they're going to be able to go back.
Yeah, it actually looked like...
So we're kind of waiting for all of the...
it looks like they are backing up now,
and there
Jen.
they go. We're seeing them.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to back up, and then they'll probably work on getting the crowd cordoned a little bit there and close that gate to the players' lot, I would imagine, so the players can safely get from the facility to their vehicles after they get all their stuff. And what is it? Is Wednesday locker room day, do you think?
I haven't seen a schedule yet for this week. I know that they are doing the parade on Tuesday. But other than that and beyond that, I haven't seen a schedule. Now, one may have been released since we've been up here. Packers really good about sending those things out. But remember, this is a Packers administrative staff that has been celebrating the Super Bowl as well and has been en route as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of their clerical work doesn't get done within the next few hours as they kind of get back to work, if you will.
Can you tell what's happening? They're cheering buses in reverse? No, they got to be cheering something bigger than that.
They're cheering the cameras, guys.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, well, we've seen that before.
Almost as good as a bus in reverse as a camera.
Have you guys seen, though, the banners that are on each of the buses? I haven't seen too many of them, but the one before said America's Team. This one saying Titletown, USA. You know, and the banners even that are hanging near the Lambeau Field Pro Shop say things like tradition, teamwork, pride. I mean, all of these words, glory is another one you could see. All of these words that have really come to define the Packers franchise over the years. Words that aren't just words here in Green Bay. They are ways of life. They are kind of ethics these people really live by. And so it's great when they come out here and can see those are the same ethics that their team adheres to as well.
Absolutely, and I'm just reading the AP Wire. It says thousands of exhausted but euphoric Packers fans cheered the team Monday on its return to Green Bay, and that is so true.
You know, Jen, you mentioned the ethics and just the whole character of the team. I was talking to my dad out in California. He watched the game with some friends, and he's not necessarily a Packers fan. He lives out in California. And he was telling me he was so impressed with the interviews of the players. He said he has never heard a team of football players just so genuine and sincere and just seem like a group of really great guys. And I think we get that impression here, that we're very fortunate to have a very special team here.
Well, you are absolutely right. Guys that stay out of trouble, guys that don't find themselves in the police blotters, guys that tend to give back to the community. And when they give back to the community, not always with a camera there, sometimes just doing it on their own, and then word trickles out a little bit later on. And that's why I think fans here in Wisconsin and Green Bay have taken so kindly to this team, because they really feel like they represent this state very well. It's a hard-nosed team. It's a hard-working team based in principles and ethics, as you mentioned. I think all of those things really resonate with these people. And of course, being community owned. People here always feel like they have such a vested interest in the team and what goes on within the walls here at Lambeau Field. So I think that all of that is part of it. When you feel as though the team you're rooting for believes in the same things you believe, it's so much easier to back them each and every Sunday.
And I think it's a point taken not just with our fans, but fans from football fans in general around the country. I think people respect the Packers.
Yeah, I would say, I would bet that outside of Western Pennsylvania, most of the nation was cheering for the Packers. I mean, it was just people, you know, Aaron Rodgers is a great spokesperson for that team, and people just have a good feeling about this wonderful organization.
And I mean, the fact, too, that the Steelers have won it recently, in recent memory, I think, you know.
Now we're sort of paparazzi.
Here we go.
Now we're playing paparazzi. We can see, let's see, who is this?
Here's what they're waiting for. So I think that was Darren College, and it looked like Brady Papinga leaving. Now, if we're going to get a whole nother parade of athletes leaving the facility, these fans will certainly be pleased with that. They'll absolutely take it. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a team meeting or anything at this time. We're seeing another large vehicle leaving, and tinted windows usually indicate someone important.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of
Yes.
SUVs, and the camera is perfectly placed as they go by that we can get at least a little. Oh, that one could not see in at all. But you may be able to see as the players leave the facility and walk across over to the vehicles who's getting into what vehicle. I'm not sure if you can or not. I saw the guy with the foil-wrapped traffic cone with the football on top.
I noticed that. I love that makeshift Lombardi. I noticed that, too. Well, here's somebody waving, a nod to the fans.
That looked like Rob Davis, guys, former player who is now a member of the coaching staff.
He's a former long snapper there, and I believe he was the only other person from Shippensburg University, where John Kuhn came from, to make it in the NFL, one of only 2 or 3.
Very good piece of trivia, Brad.
Well, you know, I try my best. I used to work in the television market where Shippensburg was, where Kuhn grew up in York, Pennsylvania, so I actually remember him. We're going to take a quick commercial break here. Jen Latta's going to stand by as we watch the various players leave in their vehicles, and we'll come back and continue our coverage here on Fox 6. Stick around. We will be right back.
The Packers have won the Super Bowl. To commemorate this historic event, Wilson Sporting Goods is selling the Super Bowl Champions Game Ball. This is the same ball used in the Super Bowl, with the addition of a third commemorative panel added to commemorate the Super Bowl 45 champions. The commemorative third panel will have the Packers logo embossed in the words Super Bowl 45 champions, the score of the game, and a serial numbering bar. Only 5,000 individually hand-numbered red balls are produced, and each sells for $129.95 plus shipping. To purchase this historic ball, call BigTimeFootballs.com at 1-866-280-BATS.